testosterone, we have a problem.
This is Outside the Manosphere, where two guys with zero credentials dive past the cliches of masculinity and try to become better friends by actually talking to each other. It's weirdly hard, but we're doing it anyway. Join us. Oh, yeah.
Welcome from Turkey to Outside the Manosphere. How are you doing this week, Carlos?
Well, I am not in Turkey. I'm in my boring old rural town in Canada. But yeah, I'm doing all right, man. Well, I guess what we just heard, you want to explain what that was?
Yeah, that's the call to prayer. And you hear it several times a day here. It's over loudspeakers from mosques. And sometimes there's like different mosques that are close by. So you kind of hear different calls to prayer echoing over each other. And it's pretty interesting. And I was actually wondering, like with Jess, like if you had grown up in a place where you hear that, like, you know, every several hours, I wonder what it's like leaving a place like that where like you don't hear it all the time, and you know you don't like, I don't know, probably don't have like an alarm set, like that kind of is the alarm. So like I wonder how much time would pass before you're like, oh man, I haven't heard that, and like if it's weird or like discomforting or what, like it's a really interesting thing that's just kind of, you know, ambiently around every few hours, and it makes it feel like a different place, which is a nice thing with traveling.
I wonder if you are someone who grew up in that sort of environment and then you come to like the US or Canada or whatever, if you feel like you're in a less godly place. Because even if, like you said, it's ambient, so it's always there, but it's a reminder of your faith or of your state's faith or your family's faith or whatever. And I wonder if it not being there, you just kind of are aware of like how not present with God the populations are in your new place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or at least not your God. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I imagine even if you weren't religious and you lived here, it would be like, I don't know, it wouldn't take much time to get used to, because most of the time it's not going. It's just like every few hours, but you might be like, oh, it's weird that it never happens. You know, like
Right. What is the public doing when that's going on? Like if you're out like in a marketplace,
they're just chilling, man. Doesn't seem to be like everybody rushes off to do something. Or, you know, I think if you're very devout, you're probably already there or somewhere getting ready, or I don't know. I'm more or less ignorant on this, or maybe it's just a reminder. Maybe you can kind of like, if for the less devout people, maybe you can just kind of say a silent prayer. I have no idea. But it seems to be just like it goes off and it's going, and people are just kind of going about their business doing stuff.
This is like postcards from my uncle Traveling Matt from Fraggle Rock.
I never really watched Fraggle Rock, so
Oh man, this is a deviation. This is a deviation on our love story, Skip.
Yeah. No, everybody I knew watched it, and I just never got into it for some reason.
So there was this one Fraggle that would leave their little cave, and he'd go out through a mouse hole into the human's house, and he would evade the dog and go off, and he'd wander into like American cities and stuff. And he was in outer space, quote unquote. Like that's what he would send postcards back, but he was traveling in outer space. And the Uncle Traveling Matt, he'd wear like a safari outfit, and it was a cool show, man, because there were like layers of like of species in that show. Like they had within the Fraggles, there was like doozers. There were like these ant-like construction workers that would build these crystal structures, and the Fraggles would eat the crystals. And then on the other side, they went out and there was like an ogre land, and they were like human-sized ogres. But yeah, it was cool. It was very imaginative. Doesn't matter, but I'm surprised you didn't see it.
Yeah, no, I was definitely very aware of Fraggle Rock, but I didn't ever really watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, sorry, I derailed our intelligent turkey conversation with Fraggle Rock.
That's okay. I keep going to the same grocery store, and the same guy's always working, and he always, like, when he asked where we were from, we were like, Czech Republic, and So today it was, I don't know, third or fourth time I've seen him because I just go in to get like bottled water or something. And he's like, Czech Republic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Skoda. Yeah, 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 yeah. And he's like, how many countries have you been to? How many countries have you been to? And I think he just wanted to know how many countries I'd been to before Turkey. I was like, I don't know, 45 or 50.
Yeah.
And he's like, 45, 50. Have you been to Japan? No, 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 no. Have you been to America? Yeah, actually, I've spent a little time there. Yeah.
So you didn't reveal you're American.
Well, I don't really want to get into a conversation at the very least. Like people in the Czech Republic, like the guy at the KFC that I go to stops me with news from America regularly. And he's like, Donald Trump is doing terrible things. What do you think about what ICE is doing? And I'm like, nothing good. And he was like, what do you think will happen next? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, I think we saw in 1930s Germany.
Yeah.
So yeah, I already get enough of that.
No, nobody really bothers me here. Like they all know I'm American, and nobody really says shit. So I'm appreciative of that. This isn't like a big metropolitan area or anything, but yeah, there's no one really bothers me about it. So I'm grateful about that.
Speaking of the U.S., I noticed you had hockey on here today.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just jump right into the news item. I do want to hear more about Turkey, though, but we'll jump right into our news items. So when this is released, this is going to be very old news and not interesting anymore at all. But I had just seen this morning, like I said, I don't follow sports, but I had seen this morning when I like catch up with the news that the Canadians beat the Czech Republic yesterday or last night.
It was painful. We watched it.
I did. It was painful for me to watch the Czechs' disappointment after that on the news clip that I watched. But and then the Canadian response was so Canadian, man. People were just like flipping out, but they were so excited. But yeah, I don't know. I was a little conflicted.
They were huge favorites, and it was like a really good game. They entered the third period tied 2-2, and then like towards the latter half, the Czechs got the third goal, and they were ahead. And all they had to do was hold them off for like 6 minutes. And then in the last couple minutes, Canada got a goal, and it was just like, no. And then they went to overtime, and Canada scored in the first minute or two of overtime. And it was just like, oh, it was so close to being just like a wonderful upset. Yeah. I don't get into sports that much, but like Jess and I were both watching and going, oh,
That's funny. Yeah, I like I said, I was a little conflicted by it because I lived in the Czech Republic and I was rooting for the Czech Republic when I was there, and now I'm here and I'm actually a citizen here now. So now I'm like, kill them all, Canada. And then so they're facing the U.S. now, and regardless of the outcome, I think the U.S. is favored to win. But regardless of the outcome, I'm satisfied with being shoulder to shoulder with the United States, who's been like so bullish this past year.
Yeah. I think they played Canada earlier in the tournament, I want to say. And
I think they've played several games and they've lost.
Crushed them.
Yeah. They've lost like roundly every time they played. But again, I don't know. I don't really follow sports. This is just like secondhand what someone else has told me. I'm regurgitating like a real sports fan's information.
Well, and anyways, that's enough sports talk for our man show.
So real quick, though, I'm still interested about Turkey. How long have you been there and how long are you going to stay? And the other question is, what's the English situation like? Like, how hard is it to get around in Turkey?
So, yeah, we've been here for 4 days and we're leaving tomorrow, actually. So we've had like 5 days in Istanbul and it's been real fun. We've seen like a ton, no problems with English, no problems whatsoever. Plenty of people speak English. I mean, like you'll find people that don't, but it's not been a problem at all. Yeah, we saw a bunch of mosques, saw the Blue Mosque, saw the Hagia Sophia, saw the Grand Bazaar and the Spice Market, and went to an art museum today. It's been fun. Went to some fancy meals. Went to a fancy meal last night, and we're going to a fancy meal tonight because that's like the only thing left in. I mean, there's plenty to do in Istanbul, but we were talking on the way back to the hotel, and I was like, the only thing I'm going to regret is not eating more things. Like, because that's kind of how we travel. We travel through food, and we found like the first night we got really lucky. Right around our hotel, there's this place. There's like no sign. It's just open, like restaurant, like just white walls, people sitting down everywhere, and it's across the street from a place grilling on kebabs and like on charcoal. And we walked in, they were like, "You guys sit here, sit here." And we're like, okay. And it's like communal seating, and they just like, you don't order, they're just like, "We only do one thing. Here's the salad stuff. This has lemon, this is a sauce, you squirt it in there, go." And then like a little while later they brought over like bulgur and chicken, and it was great. It's great. And it
That
was
is
like
cool.
the cheapest thing that we've found, and we ate there like 3 or 4 times because it was so good. So yeah, it was
Nice.
wonderful. It was like a $4 dinner for the two of us.
Cool, man. For the both of you.
Yeah.
Or for like $4 a piece.
No, $4 like total. It's
Wow.
real good.
Yeah, whenever we'd go places, like I'm less of a not even weed, just my whole travel life. I've always been less of a I want to taste everything and more of a I want to get to know one place well. So when you say you went 2, 3 times or 3, 4 times, that's what I do because like I mean I want to experience other things as well, obviously, but like you forget all that stuff. You know what I mean? You go to 5, 6, 7 places. You go to
Yeah.
You've been there 4 days. You go to 8 places during your whole trip. You're going to forget most of them or half of them at least. But if you go to one place several times, you're like, oh yeah, that one place, man, that was really good.
I mean, there's always like the nice thing with Turkey is like everywhere's got the Turkish tea that like which so you go
Yeah,
in and
the mud at the bottom with the
no, that's the Turkish coffee, but they've always got the Turkish tea too. So like salep, and you go in, you get the tea everywhere. So like even if you forget the places, like there's things that you'll remember, which is nice, especially for me, because as we know, I don't remember much of anything.
Well, I have the same problem.
Yeah, Jess always asks me, she's like, "Do you remember that dish we had at this place?" And I'm like, "No, it sounds great," you know?
Now apply that exact experience with mahjong, and you've got my mindset when every time we'd sit down to play. That's mahjong for me.
Yeah.
All right. So, is there any last thing you want to say about your sweet, make me jealous vacation?
No, it's just really nice to have a chance. We get a chance like once a year, basically, Jess and I, to get away from the kids because they're at camp, and it's in February, and it's just nice. It's a nice opportunity to go see something new.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time again, because you did this again when you were in Norway, to record with me. We'll keep it short. We'll keep it short. I did mention my news item. You got one? I see you got some cryptic.
I
note
do.
in
I
our-
do.
in our-
I am enjoying. So my news item. I am enjoying my Scientific American subscription, and my news item is from Scientific America again, and it was actually talking about the algorithms on social media and how they've finally done some really good studies about how polarizing they are and how kind of miserable it makes people, and just sort of verified those things, which is nice. But they also used, and I don't think this is a publicly available thing, but they used an AI tool to reconfigure some of the algorithms. And the result was when they kind of like pushed down the polarization and pushed down some of these, even to like where people would see it, but they'd see it later in their feed. They scrolled for less time and they were happier, and just defying kind of these algorithms that are meant to keep you scrolling, and like they don't care about why you're scrolling, but the reason why you're scrolling is because it makes you feel like crap and like things like that. So just having this, and I hope that they make this available. There's just like this thing that breaks the algorithm a little bit, and they said the people after this, they had a 2 to 3 degree difference in their feeling thermometer, which is I guess a instrument that they use. But they say that it might not seem like much, but it's comparable to like 3 years of historical US change on average. So like a huge amount of difference in mental well-being from just basically having a healthier social media landscape for 10 days. And so like you can imagine just like refraining from social media probably would also help, but it's nice that people are studying this and finding ways, because the platforms did not allow this. They had to find ways to like alter the platforms through AI so that they were breaking the algorithm that's so like, I don't know, destructive and things like that. And they said it's really nice. It's about, well-being and mental health, and they're figuring out how to, sort of get around some of this kind of toxicity that companies are pumping at us just to keep us looking at their websites.
I seen just this morning that Mark Zuckerberg is like apparently in the hot seat right now. He's being sued. I don't know if it by the government or who, but for making his product knowingly addicting for, I don't know if it's just for children or for everyone, but yeah. And I think Google is like tacked onto that as well. So
Yeah, no, there's a lot of really promising things coming out. Not mostly out of our government, but governments abroad are starting to really crack down on some of this shit. And it's really nice to see people fighting back against these giant corporations that really don't give a shit.
right.
And it makes me really happy and hopeful for our future that people are starting to band together and say, you know what, the most important thing isn't that some dude makes a whole bunch of money. Like, the most important thing is that people have good well-being and mental health, and we're not going to just kind of let this continue on in this festering, rotting negativity.
Or
Yeah.
the most important thing is that you maintain your relationship with, Uncle so and so, or your childhood best friend, or your parents who have like taken a hard right shift, or someone taking a hard left shift. You know what I mean? Like, it goes both directions, and I mean, this families have been ruined, and just, I mean, starting with COVID, I think that's really where it not where it began, but like that was where it came out publicly. You know what I mean? Or so
It accelerated, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm looking forward to a positive future as well. I think we're already there, Skip.
I think we're moving towards it. I think people are starting to like say enough is enough, and it's nice to have science working on some solutions as well.
Well, hopefully science will be acknowledged
Maybe not in the U.S., but other
elsewhere.
places.
Sure. All right, Skip. Well, as you are on vacation, this is going to be somewhat of a shorter episode. We're going to postpone our questions to fall in love, our 36 questions to fall in love, because I am enjoying the ride. And we're going to jump right to a brief mention here, because we're still in Black History Month. This will come out at the end of February. And I just want to tell a quick story, and I think you've probably got something as well, because we spent a lot of time talking about racism and a lot of like, I don't know, sort of like triggering topics during the month, and this is an appropriate story. I'm just going to jump into it. So, when Obama was elected president, I got the idea that I'm going to drive from Austin to Washington D.C. and attend the inauguration. And I got my really close friend at the time. We've kind of lost touch. He's got all kinds of issues, but I kind of just twisted his ear and his arm and got him to go. And he was like, right up to the end, he was like, I can't take off work and I can't do this. And I'm like, dude, let's go. Like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. Let's go. And we went. He finally, like, it's probably the last trip he's taken, and probably the first trip he's taken in just as long. He's a super unhealthy dude mentally. But anyway, we drove nonstop from Austin to Washington, D.C. Everything was booked, like, as far as hotels and stuff. So I had posted, I don't know if it was Craigslist or where it was. We posted, like, is there anyone that can let us stay on your sofa for a couple of days for the inauguration? And some lady was having her friends over from, I don't know where they were coming from. And we slept on the floor. It's in this lady's house with these strangers. They were super nice. They had keys to the lady's house, and we just footed all over DC. We never even took the metro. We walked all over Washington D.C. We were in like lockstep mentally. Like, we never really discussed where we were going. We were just like pointing in a direction, and we'd go. And then the inauguration itself the atmosphere there was peace and joy and cooperation and happiness. I've never been in a place where there were hundreds of thousands of people there, and I've never been in a place where everybody was happy. It was a happy place. And it was bizarre. It was wonderfully bizarre. And we were sitting on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial watching the Capitol like a mile away, however far it is. We went a few days before, so we saw like U2 came out, and Stevie Wonder was there, and I was making a joke to my friend like, Obama's daughters are never going to find a man to. I mean, because Bono had just performed, and then he bowed to the president. I'm like, oh yeah, they're never going to find a guy that people are going to bow to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really nice, man. It was a really wonderful experience. And like I said, we were on the steps of the memorial, and like Lincoln Memorial, and it was just like, I've never felt a part of history before, and it was living history. You knew it as it was happening. It just felt so good. It was such a great experience, and all that because we had our first African American president, and not just our first African American president, the first president in my lifetime anyway that brought hope and optimism, and somebody that I'd hoped would bring maybe a little more decency than he was able to. But yeah, that's my little notch on Black History Month, and I hope we can end it positively with something like that. What about you? You had something to say too.
Well, no, I remember. So those Obama getting elected the first time and my walk across America are always tied in my head because, like, time wise, not tied as like events.
Right.
But like, I was walking across America as we were coming up to the election, and when the election went through, or like when he was actually elected. And, in inauguration, I was in Mississippi in some guy's garage working on my cart and watching it on, television with him. And just like, it was certainly the moment in my life, that time period where I was the proudest of America. And I remember before I had left the Czech Republic talking with people, and I just fervently didn't believe. I thought Barack Obama was, a great candidate, but I just didn't believe that America would elect a guy who's Black and whose middle name is Hussein, and
Right.
like I didn't believe it, and I was really proud and just kind of in awe. And it was also happening at this wonderful time when I was crossing America, and I was like having all these wonderful interactions with people, and it was just such a nice time. It was really like you talked about being in a place where everybody was happy and how wonderful that was. And that's like how I remember this period of my life as well. And it just was so full of promise. And it's a lot to pin on a person,
Right.
and it's a lot to carry on somebody's back. But what a wonderful moment, and what a tremendous, I don't know, feather in it shouldn't even be a feather in America's cap that we had this. It's hard to imagine it from the place we were before or the place we've been afterwards, but
Mhm.
we were there for a little while where we could
Right.
elect a great leader that happened to be Black.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that like the presidency was perfect or there weren't problems here and there, but like, man, the guy could talk. we haven't had that in presidents on either side for a while.
That's true. That's true. He was not since Bill Clinton, and then they've been because
Yeah.
Bush wasn't a real articulate fella. Well, he was all right, I guess, but
Which one?
he had some gaffes. Yeah, no, I mean Junior.
Yeah, Junior was not known for speaking.
No, I know.
I use the "fool me once" gif all the time. Fool me once, shame
You just can't fool me.
on you. Fool me, can't fool me again.
Yeah. He just couldn't figure it out. Well, in Bush's defense, like I had those moments now all the time, and granted, I'm not the president, and I don't have cameras and microphones in my face, but I watched that, and for me, it's easy to laugh at him. Like, eesh, I don't think I would do any better than he would, though. If I were in his, he'd probably do better than me if I were in his spot. But his father was articulate, and Reagan was articulate, and Clinton was articulate. But yeah, since Bush, it was Bush was bad, and Obama was great, and Trump was terrible, and then Biden was terrible, and now we're back to fucking Trump again.
Yeah, it's been a while. Feels like a parallel universe that we were in for a while.
It feels like we're in a parallel universe now. That's how I'm looking at it. I feel like we got to get back on the rails.
So, Carlos, it's time for my favorite part of the show. what is your joy for the week?
My joy for the week. I had just said a second ago that my sister made when I was talking to her last, and she's asked, "What are you doing?" I'm saying, "Well, I'm playing Zelda." And she was like, "You're not going to have any joys whenever you're going to record a skip because you've been playing Zelda for hours and hours." And she's right. I mean, not that I don't have any joys, but like I haven't been thinking about it, which is not a healthy thing. This is against what I normally would want to do for myself. But my joys are the weather is slowly warming up. I was not ready for winter when it happened. And it's been a fairly mild winter and it's starting to warm up again. And I'm really, really looking forward to sunny, long days again. And I see it on the horizon and I am hopeful and joyful in these days. The other thing is, and I don't want this to turn into a long conversation, but there have been several special elections in the United States that have swung remarkably far to the Democrats, way outside of standard deviation. And I'm very joyful about that. And I'm very excited and I'm hopeful. And it's bringing me a lot of hope. So yeah, that's a bit major, major joy for me. What about you?
Yeah. I'm enjoying my trip here in Turkey. I'm enjoying eating interesting things with interesting flavors. That's a big part of my travel dossier
Yeah.
is just Skip eats the world. Um, and also I'm looking forward to going home and just to like relax a little bit and to have a full size bed because we've been sleeping on this double and it is not enough for two people. So so we're looking forward to getting a good night's sleep. Yeah. But yeah, I've been enjoying the trip and I think it was the right length and we're ready to go home and relax for I don't know, half a day before the kids come home.
Well, hey, that's something. Do you guys get any souvenirs?
We bought some spices, which was this whole thing at the spice market, and some jasmine tea. And we got some Turkish delight for the kids and for our cleaning lady because she always buys candy for the kids. So we
Oh, that's
figured
nice.
we'd get her a box. And yeah, I think that's what we got. I don't think we got anything else. But memories.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. I whenever we go places, which is rare these days, I always keep my eyes open for like a souvenir that you hang on the wall or something like that. That isn't like cheesy, but it reminds you, like it makes a nice decoration that reminds you of a time of where you were at and what you were doing, which is what a souvenir is meant to be, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So Jess got some nice memories, and I was also here. I'll forget them all, but it was nice.
Yeah, how far? I'm assuming you looked into it. How far is Göbekli Tepe from Istanbul?
Oh, it's far. It's far.
Is it far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Istanbul is so big. It's so big. It's 15 million people. So it's like 10 times the population of Prague. And, we went to dinner last night and it took us more than an hour to get there. So the idea of like getting beyond the city it's too much for a short trip. Yeah.
Sure. What's the, this is a tangent here, but what's the public transport like there?
Yeah. I mean, the public transport that's around is really good. But like, the city is so big that outside of the center, it gets harder. Like, it gets more sparse. So like the place that we were going last night, it wasn't terribly, terribly far, but it did take, I mean, I guess it was pretty far, but it just takes a long time to get places. And there's not necessarily, a bus every 5 minutes. It's like a bus every 20 minutes as you get further away. So
sure.
Okay. It's pretty good though. It's pretty good. You could, and I imagine if you live here, like where we live in Prague, like you don't really go all over the city. You like stay in your area. And
sure.
Oh, and my other joy is I'm doing my favorite thing to travel, which is I take clothes like this pilly sweater.
You leave it?
And I leave it. Yeah. So the bag gets significantly smaller as I come home, or I make room in this case for spices.
I tried that when I went to Austin, and I left a bunch of stuff, and I told my mom or my sister, like, hey, you guys can just drop this off at Goodwill. My mom has a friend that goes to Mexico and takes clothes whenever, like, she just gathers a bunch of stuff. And my mom sent it all back to me. She's like, oh, you left a bunch of clothes here. And here I got it. It's all back here.
Yeah. No, it's my favorite thing to do is take clothes on like their last gasp and be like, all right, This is your last ride. I don't need to look great for vacation. Here we go.
Well, I do it so I can fill my luggage back up. Like I go one way, and then I can add stuff to not fill it, but I can add stuff that I'm bringing back.
It's a good way to get around. Like the first time I did that was when I came to Europe with some people, and it's really a relief for your bag to get lighter as you travel. There's a travel tip for the people at home.
It's a pro tip from a travel pro.
Yeah, get out there, go see the world.
Thank you so much for joining us. New podcasts every Wednesday. And if any part of this show has resonated with you, let us know at outsidethemanosphere@gmail.com. You can also reach us on Instagram, Facebook, and now YouTube. Please like, rate, subscribe to the podcast, YouTube channel, or recommend us to a friend. We hope you'll come back. Have a good one.
Bye-bye now.
That was a fast one.
I know. Well, we skipped the falling in love question.
Yeah, and we picked it was an appropriate thing, but it was the whitest Black history choice.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. What can we do?
I don't know. No, it was a good one. It's definitely like a highlight memory for me. I remember just being so impressed and astounded that our country had been able to do that.
I felt the exact same way. I'm like, I love Barack Obama. I was like, there's no chance he's gonna get elected. I was really hopeful, but I was like pretty prepared for him not to be elected. And then the other thing you had said was, well, not what you had said, but I find it interesting, just kind of, for the romance of it all, like what I was doing and what you were doing during this period. It's an event where we can pinpoint exactly where we were on at that time, you know what I mean? And I just think it's really cool.
It's pretty magical for a couple guys with bad memories.
Yeah, that's all we need huge events to remember things. Yeah.
Seriously, there's only like two things that I remember, like events. It's like Barack Obama's swearing in, like his inauguration, and like 9/11. Like I don't know about anything else, really.
Yeah, sure, that's true. 9/11 and the inauguration. Yeah, I'd have to reflect, but yeah, those were two major ones for me too. Yeah, I was looking for a job at my mom's house, sitting at the breakfast table, looking to the newspaper, circling shit jobs to apply for.
I was waking up, getting ready to go to school, and my mom had called me, and she was like, "Oh my God, have you seen the news?" And I was like, "No." And they were like, "The U.S. is basically at war." And I was like, "What? Like, what is going on?" And yeah, turned on the TV, and there we were.
You know what's funny about you saying that is that, or your mom saying that, is I remember my older sister, we were watching the news. I was glued to the TV for the whole day, but we were watching the news, and when the Pentagon got hit, I remember like we made eye contact, and she was like, "Oh my gosh," she's like, "We're going to war," and I was like, "This is a terrorist attack. We're not going to war. Like there's no state to go to war with." And I was like, "Stupid. Like, we're not going to war." And there we go. For the next 20 years, we were in conflict.
Yeah, we're good at that.